This podcast was created by fans for fans and is not affiliated with or sponsored by Hallmark or the Hallmark channel. Hello, I'm Eric.
And I'm Andrea.
Wait, who are you? Just kidding. And this is Hallmark Mysteries and more. All right, Andrea, welcome aboard.
I am very excited to be here.
I know I am too. Like I say, it's bittersweet. I don't know, since I actually got into this whole Hallmark thing, we're like one of my very first Hallmark buddies. I think it's because we align usually, which we'll find out today where our alignment is, but more often than not, we usually align. And even when we don't, I see where you're coming from. So I don't always hate your takes and stuff like that.
Well,
so,
thanks.
But yes, but you've also been on as a co-host or a guest host, I should say, quite a few times, and I think we've had some fun. But very excited to have you joining for this season 2, and I think we're going to have a lot of fun.
Yes, and congrats to both you and to Sydney, who I know said she's going to be listening, and I told her I have big shoes to fill, and I'm very excited for her because I welcomed in a baby last February myself, so I know where she's at and the work that's coming her way. So
yes,
I'm right there with you, Sydney.
You're like, when I first came up with the idea, I'm like, oh, I wonder if Andrea wants to do this, and I approached you, and you're like, hell no, I've got a kid coming.
Like, I am taking a maternity leave. I've planned for this.
Right.
So yeah, I need
then
some time off.
yeah. So when Sydney was telling me, and then with her timing, she's a little behind you. I'm like, because she was still trying to, oh, I'll be able to do it. And we got talking, and I just got to thinking about like, yeah, you, and for me, going back quite a few years when I had my kids, but your life is just pure chaos for a while there. So
yeah, and I have my own podcast with my business, and so I've had that for 8 years. So I was like, I know the work that goes into a podcast, and it's a lot.
Yeah, you should have, when I first approached you should have told me a little bit more about that, because I literally had no idea that it does take as much work as it does to do. I thought we just get on, chit chat, push a button, and off we go. But yeah, it's definitely more work, but it's fun. So,
it is fun.
Okay. So today, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be ranking our, I guess, from 11 to 1, the 2023 mysteries, from our least favorite to our favorite. And as I was saying, we typically are aligned, but I think maybe that's a little more in the rom-com world than the mystery world, especially when I think about how many times you've been a guest on here. We seem to never agree, which is very odd, like I say, but so it goes. I have a feeling we may have a couple, and I'm willing, if we don't have the same number one, I don't know, we may have to just cancel the show right after the first episode, because
I don't know if we are. I'm just going to throw that out there. I don't know if we are.
There's one that's so much better than every other one, but okay.
Yes, there is.
Okay. I am going to, because as my welcoming present to you, I am going to let you go first with your, I don't want to say
number 11,
worst, because that sounds so negative. So we'll just say your 11th. What is your first entry into the rankings?
Okay, so my caveat is, well, first, when I was looking through all of these, I was shocked that we only got 11 mysteries. I mean, that seems not a lot. I know in years past we've had a lot more, so that was kind of shocking.
I think the strike maybe messed up, because they were going with some momentum, and then it seemed like kind of
it dwindled,
skidded, and then they picked back up. So I don't know. That's my guess.
Okay, that would make sense, because I was a little surprised by that.
Same here.
But I would say, and my other caveat is, I really enjoyed the majority of the mysteries. Looking at my list, the bottom 3 are really the only ones that I probably wouldn't go out of my way to watch again. So kicking off my number 11, and I know people are not going to agree with me here, It's Mystery Island. I really did not enjoy it. I think I did watch that one twice to try to think, what am I missing? And the second time through, I still didn't get into it any more than the first time. Um, it wasn't captivating to me. I love my good cozy mystery, small town experience. And for me, the ones that fall in these bottom three are ones that lack that cozy small town that I can always come back to and enjoy side characters from. So that's where I landed for my number 11.
I think the problem was Mystery Island is not in Lake Manitoka or whatever they
Minnetonka.
Minnetonka, whatever that Minnesota lake or some Norwegian ford. If it was there, then this would have been like off the charts, the best mystery ever for you. But since it was in a nice
Or
little
Scotland. I seem to also enjoy Scotland this
tropical
year.
location, you're like, don't give me that sun. I want cold and bitter.
Maybe
Uh,
that was it.
that you can take you out of the Nordic, but you can't take the Nordic out of you. So,
What was your
our
11?
well, it was not Mystery Island, but it was Family History Mysteries. And I will put my caveat on this. I don't think it's necessarily bad, but it completely requires more episodes for me to get more into these characters. I just don't think that with going away from, like you say, that whole cozy mystery, which we're used to finding the dead body and doing this whole different, you know, thing, it just needed more. And that coupled with just, and I couldn't get past it, that, trying to find the dad who was literally in the town next door, one state over, it just, the off the plausibility scale. And I know we check it there, but for me, it was a little too much. And I just couldn't quite get into the characters enough. I think there's potential. I really do think there's potential. And if there's another one that came out, I would be more than happy to watch it. But as a standalone, it just didn't stand alone.
Well, that was my number 10, Family History Mysteries, Buried Past. For pretty much everything that you had said. And I will also agree. I know Sydney had said this too, like she always likes the dead body count. And I was expecting that to happen at some point, and there wasn't. So I feel like this one, mystery, but maybe not the mysteries that we're traditionally used to on the Hallmark movies and mystery channel. So I think that kind of threw me, I think, when I first watched it, of just being like, okay, we are really going down a different type of mystery, which was fun. Just as we did during the Christmas season, we had that mystery thrown in there. So I think that was a rough one for me to kick off. I think that was the first mystery of
It was.
2023. And so I think that also my expectations were like, yes, we're going to come out of the gate with something strong. And it just didn't quite live up to that for me. And I agree. I feel like this maybe as an ongoing like short series, something where we could get a little bit more from each character, because there was so much going on. I think that we needed more on each character because they each could have had their own movie and expanded this plot. So we didn't feel like we just got a little taste of everybody. And then that kind of left me, like I didn't enjoy it because I wanted more from each of these characters. I want to know more about their backstory, so I could truly be invested in the movie.
There, see, we agree. We agree. All right. I have a feeling we may go sideways here
Oh,
because I'm not sure if you did no, I guess you didn't do it. I know we've just talked about it. I was wondering if you did we were a guest reviewer when I did this one, but the Jane mysteries. And
we are going to go sideways here.
I gotta say, I know this either from reading your review back when it happened, but I'll say once again, this is kind of the same for me, where I think I need more. Aunt Sadie, loved her character. We got to talk to Paris Jefferson, and she's absolutely delightful. Stephen Huszar, that's one of my complaints too in this is I like the guy, like Ruby Herring Mysteries. He was so good in that. And unfortunately, they brought what what was the Hallmark one when he was the ski guy, Love on the
Love
Avalanche
on the
Slopes
Slopes.
or whatever.
Yeah.
What they brought that Stephen Huszar in this. They just didn't give him his chance to really be great, which I think he's completely capable of. And I also found for me, I think doing the 15-year-old mystery thing, while it could be good, I just, I don't think it was executed that great. So once again, though, I fully am on board to get more. And from what I've heard, there is another one coming.
I'm very
So
excited.
I like I say, I'll be there and I'll watch it. And I hope that it gets a little bit better as we get to know the characters, and I hope that they let Steven shine. So that's where we
I
are.
won't comment on that one yet. My number 9 is Dancing Detectives. This was the one that I came on and reviewed with you, and as people know, if they listen to that, was not. I was not. It wasn't horrible, but this would be my bottom 3 where I'm not going to necessarily seek it out. I enjoy both the leads. Again, it lacked that cozy kind of small town feel to it. Dancing is really not my thing, so I can't see myself enjoying a series where we go ballroom dancing or tango or waltz all across the globe. To me, that's not super exciting. But that's not to say it's not for other people. Like if you enjoy watching Dancing with the Stars has a huge following, so people do, and so that's where this movie would hit if that's something that you enjoy, observing. So for me, that's where it missed, and I would love to see the leads together in a different style of mystery, maybe not involving dance. If it was like yoga around the globe, I'm all in.
Uh, Now, so you hated Christmas Waltz then, huh?
I think I did. I'm pretty sure I did.
You're the one person on the planet.
I didn't.
So, okay. Well, I'm pretty sure that we're going to be really in line here too with my number 9, which is Haunted Harmony Mysteries and Murder G Major.
What?
I did see your post this morning, so I had a feeling we were a little bit off.
Oh my gosh.
And
I'm
you know what
shocked.
though? I will say
What?
it it was it was okay. The scenery was nice. I just thought it was okay. I really think that to do another one, and part of my thing is I'm very much on record as saying I think every mystery, unless it specifically says this is a standalone, should be 3, right?
Agree.
I just think it played out. It was pretty cute for what it was. It had the whole final thing was just head scratchers of wait, like yes, we check our logic and everything like that at the door when we watch a Hallmark, but it just sort of was just like wait, what? And of course, we're talking about a ghost, so yeah, how realistic are we? But it was just okay, and I don't know how it has legs to be interesting again without being redundant. So it
Mm,
was pretty. And I
mm,
really liked the ghost guy.
mm.
He was a lot of fun. She was okay.
Well, on that note, I'll move on because I have that a little higher myself.
A little higher.
My number 8. So this is one that again, it's towards the bottom, but I enjoyed it. Curious Caterer Grilling Season. And now, if I'm going to be honest, do I remember that much about this one? Not really. I remember the grill exploding. Do remember that piece. I do remember this one when I looked back to kind of see how I ranked this one versus the other Curious Caterer, since we had 2 this season. This was the one that aired first. I did not enjoy it as much as that second one. Um, but honestly, yeah, that's about all I remember is the grill exploding and me not enjoying this one. This was kind of a downer compared
You,
to the third one.
you don't remember Lachlan's kiss of his girlfriend? That
No,
long, awkward, gross.
no, do
Oh,
not remember. Like I'm literally scratching my brain. Like, I have no idea what this movie. I can't recall it.
well, I guess that's why it's down there low.
Yes.
All right. For me, my 8 is Dancing Detective. I
I'm
will
actually shocked by this.
I will say though, from this point forward, I kind of enjoyed all of all of the mysteries. Like I thought it was fun. I thought that Will Kemp was, it was just nice having like essentially a comedic mystery, which we'll get to another one a little later, which I thought was really good. So I thought that was good. Seeing Lacey sort of as the detective as opposed to the snoop, I thought that was fun. The scenery was gorgeous. Um, the mystery itself, I thought was fairly decent, thought out, good mystery. It was running down the list of, oh, it's that person, it's that person, it's that person, it's that person. So it had, a lot of that. So I liked it all, but I just think at the end of the day, it was just okay. It was okay. It was enjoyable. It was fun. If it's on and I'm not doing anything, I'll watch it. I'm not going to go out of my way. So that's why it's 8 as opposed to like 3.
Well, my number 7 is I'm gonna flip flop these. I wrote them differently, but then I was like, I don't think that's accurate because my recollection of this, it's going to be the Hannah Swenson, and it's going to be a carrot cake murder, which is the one where they break up at the end. So I originally had that one above the Zest for Death, but they're right next door to each other in my reviews here. But that one I didn't like. Just, I mean, again, I liked it. I think I gave it like a 4.5 stars. I just, that ending is what kind of split for me. I watched that one with my mom. I enjoyed the mystery. It was just kind of the head scratching. And I know you don't agree because you're dying on that feminist movement that we are all not feminists because we don't agree with Hannah. But it just was not it didn't feel right. I mean, there was just nothing about that scene. I mean, the whole buzzing in the ear, I still thought that the captain, like the sheriff, was the one who was the murderer. That's what she was realizing. And he was going to take Mike or her captive or something. And my mom thought the same thing because we're both like, what's going on here? And then it just kind of came out of nowhere and it didn't feel like it aligned with the story. So that was the biggest hit on that. Um, but I still enjoyed the movie overall because I can remember the mystery of the guy in the shaft, and I enjoyed that. So that's where that one fell for me.
All right. Well, I'm staying with Hannah Swenson, but unlike you, I've got a zest for death. And I thought it was okay. The Murder She Baked series, Murder She Baked Hannah Swenson for me isn't my favorite. I think it's okay. I don't dislike it by any means, but it's just one that I find okay. And I put this one in that category. I will say though, the one thing I really liked was the killer was unexpected for me. I thought that ending and how it unfolded was really good, but I thought the rest of the movie was kind of meandery. So that's why I have it actually lower than the counterpart one as opposed to you.
Well, my number 6 then is the Hannah Swenson, A Zest for Death. So again, those could be probably interchangeable for me. I enjoyed both of them. I liked that the sister came back in this movie. Barbara Nevin carried that movie. She was
100%.
spectacular. Um, I could care less about. I think this is when the professor came in.
I was just going to ask you what you thought of that.
I feel like they're trying to figure out what to do. And I know Cameron Matheson signed with Great American Family. Does that mean he's done over at Hallmark? I don't know. And so I feel like they're trying to figure out if they're going to continue this series, who they could maybe bring in. And I know that you had said the professor's in the books. And so maybe that's why they kind of brought him in just as a potential for the future if needed. So I don't know if the series will continue. I agree. It's lost its luster. I personally enjoyed the first one, the Murder She Baked, because you can tell the scene, the setting, everything shifted. They might, I'm pretty sure they got rid of all of the original, pieces from the set. That's why it looks different. But it doesn't have that same small town feel per se. It has more of I was talking with someone in the DMs here in Minnesota, and we both said it's got more of a Bloomington, like a bigger city feel to it now. versus your like cute little quaint Cannon Falls feel. It's just a different vibe. And it does interrupt because just as me liking my Cabot Cove, it interrupts that peacefulness to it. There's a reason the Murder She Wrote episodes in Cabot Cove are better than the New York City. You like that backdrop. So that's kind of my other hit on the series is will it continue? I'm fine if it's done. I don't need to have it wrapped up in any way. I'm okay with it being complete where it is.
Uh, oh, it feels more Bloomington than too funny. All right. Well, I dropped my Curious Cater in here, Fatal Vows.
Mhm.
Um, I had this lower than Grilling Season. Mostly, I thought it was interesting. It had some fun in it. It's unfortunately though, like I figured the mystery out literally even before the death happened. I thought it was when they made such a big deal about the cake thing and whatever, the avocado. It just for me it didn't have as much also as much as the charm I thought as the first two. The relationship with Marla and Goldie kind of went backwards a little bit. I did like though that they brought in the other detective and with Marla getting a little love interest potentially, but I also thought the guy was like so kind of in like Mason was incompetent in his way of being a goofball, and this guy was just incompetent in ways like, oh, I'm just going to make Tom because I don't like him
Mm-mm.
guilty. So like, it was okay. I loved though the ending with the wedding dress scene when like, oh, you were wearing a wedding dress to my wedding, um, with Jasmine and Goldie. But overall, like I said, it did switch the writing. I know like you kind of like the new writing a little more than the older writing. I think I was just a fan more of the way that John Christian Plummer wrote it than the Canadians. So there you go. That's why I have it right there, sort of smack in the middle. I liked it. I liked the goal. I liked the series. I do like the fact that Goldie and Tom have progressed. I do think like we had a near kiss. I think they could have taken it a little further, but so there you go.
Well, that
Number
is my
six.
number five as well, is the, or I guess moving up, but Curious Caterers Fatal Vows is my number five. Pretty much for the same reasons that you said. I, though, am not a fan of them in a romantic relationship. I do feel like they are better off as like friends. And
I've
I
heard a
think
lot of people
that's,
say that.
yeah, and I think that's okay. Like, I wish some of these series would have that. It's, hey, let's have a friendship vibe. We don't need to have a romantic interest. That's why I really enjoyed the garage sale mysteries because, her vibe with the detective was very much, it's just we're friends, we're kind of work colleagues, even though they weren't technically working together. That is something that I think could benefit the series if they took it in that direction. I don't know if they will. I enjoyed the mystery. I liked the wedding, dress that sticks out in my mind of her being stuck and locked in the barn in a wedding dress. Like, sometimes think, what do you remember
Right.
about the movie? That's what I remember of her being locked in that barn in a wedding dress. That's from like, yep, that sticks out to me. And I think sometimes to remember all of the movies because we watch a lot of them, like you need to have some of those scenes to be like, oh yeah, did I like that one? And again, the grilling season, the only thing I can remember is the grill blowing up. That's probably not a good sign for the movie if that's the main thing that I recall from it.
It's a
And
good point.
so yeah, that's something that I'm like, oh yeah, nope, I do remember the whole mystery, not just her being in the barn. So that was my number five. I'm curious to see where you're gonna go.
Well, I'm back in Lake Eden with Carrot Cake Murder.
Wow, I'm
So,
surprised it's actually that high
and
for you.
for the opposite reason of you.
Hmm.
Well, I know you were like, I love the movie until the final 20 minutes. I thought the movie was okay. And then the final 20 minutes were just spectacular for me. I loved the conflict. I, as we've battled many a times, both like on camera as well as behind the scenes. I just think she was standing up for herself. I think that Mike totally did her wrong by just he could have just easily said, "Hey, the Captain's putting pressure on me that I know I told you this was your thing, but it's back to being an official investigation. He could have avoided it. And I think he just made her look dumb, and then she stood up for herself. And so I'm 100% behind her in that. And I know, like I say, we exactly see this movie polar opposites. But the one thing we do agree on was the weirdness of the killer being like 2 years old when he committed the
Didn't make
murder.
sense.
Like the casting of it, just they casted a guy too young to have committed the murder, whatever it was, 15 some years ago, and then being like 30 years old when when they found him. So they could have done that a little bit better. But yeah, I like I say, I not the hugest fan of it. And the reason to be honest why it is this high is because I thought the final 20 minutes, and I thought that Eloise Sweeney, and maybe this is her what was she in All Days of Our Lives or whatever, her soap opera,
I think
but
so.
this could be maybe some of her soap opera background, but I thought she brought the drama of that
Mm.
really well. Like I thought she acted great. Like her like she's I felt her pain in that. And so like I know you don't agree with it, but regardless, I thought the final 20 minutes of that was spectacular. So I liked it in that aspect. All right. So now we're in the well, we're not
Four.
quite on the podium, but we are in the sort of the upper echelon of movies. And it's kind of funny because two of my lower ranked ones still have not been mentioned by you.
No, they have not. And they still will not. Number four for me is Aurora Tea Garden Mystery is something new. This actually surprised me when I kind of was sitting down and looking at my list because I was more critical on this movie. I know when I had talked to you earlier. This is why I also like to take time after I kind of sit with the movies and I'm like, okay, what am I still drawn to? Because sometimes in the moment we're like, yes, it's amazing. But then when we sit down, we're like, actually, I probably won't watch that movie again. Like Guiding Emily. I was doing my rankings for 2023. Great movie, but I'm not necessarily going to want to sit down and watch that again. The Aurora Tea Garden, I'm actually like, I'm going to probably turn that on in the next couple days. I only watched it that one time. I am curious to kind of go back into it. I think it's grown on me a little bit more, the concept, just because we've been away from the original for so long. And I know, you're not a fan of it, but I enjoyed that first one. But now I think I've had enough time apart. There's been no new ones, obviously. So this one, I'm like, let me give this another spin because it was, I thought, a pretty good concept. And I'm hopeful that they will make more of these so we can kind of see this progress because I think the actors were amazing in this. I know Evan Roderick, he was in the Sealed with a List.
Right.
Wasn't a huge fan of him in this, but having seen him now in that movie, I'm like, okay, I really can see he's got some acting chops, and I'm curious to kind of see where he could take this character because I think he did do such a great job in that movie that he could really go far with Arthur in this series. So that's where it landed for me. Surprised myself that I'm like, okay, it's actually it's up there for me.
How did you like the casting then? You liked obviously Arthur. What did you think of the casting of Aurora and the casting of Sally?
Sally would be the one I wasn't the biggest fan of. I did enjoy Aurora. I thought she was great. I don't remember her name,
Say,
but I
um, why am I going brain dead on it? Skylar Samuels.
yes, she was. I enjoyed her, but Sally, I feel like she started strong for me, and then about halfway through the movie, I was like, okay, maybe not the best choice. So I wouldn't mind a recast there. Not going to be make or break for the series for me though.
Okay. I know that was one of a lot of people liked that series, and there was a lot of criticism about casting, and also a lot of people just couldn't really put their heads around what a prequel is. That is not a continuation, that it literally is going back in time. So,
Well, and I think again with the space, I think having now a couple years since we've seen a new Aurora, I think that might also give some new appreciation for those who enjoyed that small town cozy feel. We got that backdrop here, and if you really enjoyed that type of mystery, maybe giving another set of eyes and being like, okay, I've had enough time, and I do enjoy the series.
okay. So my number four, I am back in, where are they in Colorado? I don't know. They're not in Aurora, but wherever. But I've got Curious Cater grilling season. Mostly I just loved the dynamic between Goldie and Marla in this. The first one, Dying for Chocolate, they sort of introduced it and you got to know Marla. I think she's one of just the great BFFs in Mysteries. I love her character. We've talked to JC several times, and regardless of the fact that she's a wonderful person, I think she just really has done a great job with that character. And they really leaned hard on sort of that buddy thing where they were in the caper together. It wasn't like just Goldie going after it and then Marla in a scene or two. She was totally part of it. And I thought they played off each other. They had great humor in it. Tom, he came along and he was fun. I thought that the mystery was decent, so I, I liked it. I thought it was pretty darn good. Like I say, it was my of the 3 episodes so far we've had, it was my favorite. So that's why it's number 4. I wish we could get John writing more, and I know you kind of like the other direction. So, and that's funny because that's sort of the general feel I've heard from a lot of people when they talk about it. A lot of people are like, "Oh, I really like the new direction," and a lot of people didn't know that the writers changed. They just could sense that it was different, and they liked that other way because I think when you went into the Fatal Vows, it definitely focused more on Tom and Goldie versus the other one, which is a little more of a ensemble, I think, cast with obviously, Tom and Goldie being the top. And it's funny when you're talking about how you would totally be okay with them sort of just being friends and really, real close friends, and you don't get the chemistry. I wonder if it really is the fact because it's seemed to be from if you look at like everything that happens on social and the way they talk about each other, that they really just are genuinely really good friends. That if that chemistry is just so palatable that they've kind of crossed a threshold where they're just so comfortable with each other that it kind of getting that tension, they're just too comfortable. So we don't get it, maybe. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
So, because I could definitely be on board with what you said of them never going romantic, or
Again,
I'm
I
fine
really
if they
like her
do.
ex-husband in the series, and I don't mind her getting back together with him. I know in the books he's
Right.
atrocious, but like how they've played him in the series, I'm like, I enjoy that vibe.
Yeah. He's definitely a different guy than in the books. And Lachlan, I mean, he's just one of those Hallmark. I mean, he's in what, like 190 Hallmark
He's
movies,
awesome. He's
and
awesome.
he's in literally every single mystery series at one point or another. But yeah, he's a good dude. And they do have a really good relationship as far as for exes and stuff. So, all right. On to now
Mm-hmm.
we're on the podium. So we're on number 3 for you.
Okay, number 3 is The Cases of Mystery Lane. I know this is probably going to be your number 1, but for me, I thought this was actually going to be my number 1 too. But again, when I was kind of sitting with the movies and what am I going to really feel
You just
cult?
decided you had to be difficult and pick 2 movies you know would be low for me. And you're like,
No,
I
I
know,
had
I
no
know it's the
idea.
best, but I'm just gonna have to rile up Eric and choose 2 that I know he was not the biggest fan of. All
Well, I
right.
didn't know that you did not like the Haunted Harmonies mystery. I actually
I
was
didn't
shocking.
dislike, I just thought it was
I'm shocked. I thought that would be much higher for you. So for me, The Cases of Mystery Lane, it falls where it is because I enjoyed it. I've watched that one a few times. Maybe it's a little on the darker side. I don't know. I'm like trying to think of like the way it was filmed, the way, I guess the whole movie, maybe that's what kind of put it to number 3. Again, I loved it. I thought it was a great movie. But if I'm choosing between my last, my other 2 that I have above it, I probably am going to watch the other 2 over this one. And I'm not, I really can't like pinpoint why, because I love the leading lady who is in Lucifer. She was
Amy
great in
Garcia.
that. Yes. And so I really enjoyed seeing her in there. I thought Paul Campbell did a great job. Those guys together were a great, married couple that were just living in the suburbs. I want to see more of this series. But again, at the end of the day, for me, it's going to be at number 3. This is where I have always the one movie that people are like, how do you love this? Like my Merry Scottish Christmas, how it snuck into number 3. My number 2 is that for most people. I'm guessing most people aren't going to have the one that I have ranked second
Well,
as in their top at all.
yeah, I think I agree with you. Okay, my number three is where we're very, very different is Mystery Island. Um, I really liked the movie. I thought the Elizabeth Henstring was just fantastic. The character of Baroness Janie, I thought is like with Marla, kind of the same thing. She was just awesome. The other thing was they really, and I know this is what he was trying to do, and maybe because I knew this was there and based on the conversation we had, but the Agatha Christie aspect of, and then there were none built into it. And I was able to really sort of relate to where that was going. I just really enjoyed the mystery. I did kind of figure out because I knew what it was based off of, I knew where it was going, but I still had a really fun time. I will say one of my challenges though with it, and I also thought the scenery was great. Unlike you, I do appreciate the cozy mystery, but really, how many dead people can you like? Lake Eden has to be one of the highest crime rates, and it's got to make Chicago look safe because you've had so many murders in that little Minnesota town that I would not be buying real estate in there. But regardless of you and your little towns, but the island, you know, it wasn't turned out, the twist, it didn't turn out to be a murder, but like I said, I thought it was great. There were a lot of twists and turns, and I think if I didn't know where it was going, I would have been following those red herrings. Um, but like I said, I think that Elizabeth Hedstring and I wish I remembered her name, but the Baroness Janie, I thought they were just so good, and I loved it. I will say though, the chemistry between her and the detective Charlie Weber, I'm not quite sure I'm feeling it. Um, we'll see if it goes romantic or not. Um, which it probably will, but in general, we'll see. And whether or not this is kind of like when we talked about Haunted Harmony. I think it's got the legs to do more, but maybe not, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Hopefully cross our fingers that Hallmark is nice enough to give us a couple more so we can find out. I think it does, and I think getting just different casts in, kind of like that old 70s stuff, the old Fantasy Island kind of thing, where you get sort of a whole new cast in with a
I
couple
don't know
core
this.
characters. Yeah, I know, but I think that could be a lot of fun. So that's my number three. So very different thinking there.
Yes. Well, my number two is, again, this is my outlier probably for a lot of people. It's the Jane Mysteries. I just watched it again last night. I loved that movie. I don't know why. Maybe it's Jodie Sweetin. I really enjoy her. I agree with Stephen Hazar. That was my critique of the movie, I think, originally, as well as give him some more stuff to work with. He needs a better
Well,
script. He needs some more dialogue.
he did have that one shirtless scene,
He
which
did.
that
He
was
did.
that was appreciated by many. I do know that. So the
He
acting
did.
maybe wasn't there, but you had that.
I mean, again, since the Ruby Herring mysteries, like we know we can play a detective well. I think he just needs to have a little bit more to do. I agree. I loved Sadie, the aunt. She was great. I love the mystery that it incorporated crystals. I found that fun just because that's totally my vibe. I enjoyed going into Sadie's closet and seeing all the cool
Oh yeah.
clothes and, just hearing some stories I'm sure that she would be able to kind of bring forward in future mysteries. They had the setting of, it was set in Baltimore. So, okay, we know where it's taking place. Um, I really enjoyed,
Baltimore's not a very tiny, cozy
no, it's not,
community, by
it's
the way.
not, but it didn't, I
But
mean,
hey, it's got the big high crime rate like Eden.
but what I'm talking about though is like, okay, we didn't see the entire city of Baltimore. You have stuff to work with there. Like we can explore. She started over in Paris and somehow he flew to Paris from Baltimore to get her. That might not make a ton of sense. Really, I don't think they probably actually do that. But
That was
I
part of I think that was part of like the will was, but that was
Yeah,
part
but
of
that seems
they had
they're gonna
asked him to
send
go do
someone.
it.
That just seems odd.
Well, because
Um,
he was involved in the foundation, so that's why they asked him specifically to
it's
do it, and they knew he was big enough, and they said if you have to take off your shirt to get her back here.
Well, I it worked for me. So I enjoyed it. I'm hopeful that there is going to be more. I think we have seen that potentially, I want to say that someone had posted that Jodie Sweetin
I
was
did.
filming more. Okay, that was you. So yeah, so I'm hopeful that there will be more to this, and I think that there is some, meat on the bones to work with, and we can develop this story and develop these characters.
I'll say that was, as I said earlier, I'm totally down for more. I didn't have a problem with Jodie. Loved Aunt Sadie. Give us some more Stephen, because he can handle it. And I think that making it like the three of them really building up those characters, I think would make this actually probably a pretty darn good mystery. But you have to build up all three of them. You can't
Yeah,
just rely. I know you like Jodie, but you can't just rely on her.
agree.
You need those two supporting ones because I think they could bring so much more to this.
I agree.
Okay, my number two is Aurora Tea Garden, something new, which is surprising because, as you know, hate the original. I just think it's not. I just I tried watching it. I made it. The funny thing is, the first one, I was like, okay, this actually is not terrible. And then by the second one, when Candace had to really act, I was like, okay, this is terrible. And then by the third, I'm like, I'm done. So
Did you make it to Nile Mater being in it or no?
no,
No.
I have watched, I think I jumped ahead to watch one of them because JC um is in it. And so I watched the one that she was in where she turns out to be the killer. Oh, sorry, everybody, I just ruined it. If for that 6-year-old mystery.
Let's say there's so
But
many. I'll have to give
um
you my favorite of that series and see if you like
well,
it.
we
There's
will
one that
I
I really
will
enjoy.
I will commit for the show. We can go ahead because we never really got into them. So we can go through the season and we can get into some Aurora. Um, we don't always have to agree. We don't always have to like it. And I do know that a lot of people out there do like it. But back to what we're talking about, something new. I thought Skylar Samuel was just magnificent. Like her character, I thought she did such a good, stepping into shoes of someone who had 17 um, episodes and is very beloved, a very beloved by many people, character and actress for that matter, is a difficult task. And she totally held her own. She did enough, I think, tribute to it, which you know better than I do, but at the same time making it her own. Um, and I thought she was fantastic. She was actually cast appropriately for if you to go to the books. That's where she's supposed to be. Aurora's supposed to be in her late 20s, not 140 like Candace. But the Arthur, like you said, Everett, he was in Autumn in New York, I think it is the one with Amy
Mm,
Teagarden. And then
yep.
he was also, which was just
I was
And
saying very
then
forgettable. I didn't even realize he
yeah,
was in
yeah.
that.
And then he was also in the one I forget what it's called, like Tale of Two Christmases, I think, the Sliding Doors Christmas movie with Kate Burrell last year, where she has the two parallel stories where she tips the guy or whatever. It's the Christmas movie where,
Man,
she
I don't
makes
even
the train or
remember that
doesn't make the
movie.
train. And he's like the rich boyfriend where I was like, he's like a good looking guy, but not much. But in
Interesting.
this movie, I was like, oh, he was great. And then as
Hmm.
we know, Sealed with a List, off the charts great. So
Hmm.
I thought that he was great. Plus, we had Madison Smith, who's one of our friends, as the bad guy, who just can't help himself but go around killing. So just all in all, I thought it was great. I thought it's a great opportunity to sort of reinvent the franchise, to keep it going, to get people like me who, maybe didn't love the first one back in.
Hmm.
But I also know that a lot of the hardcore people who liked it just despised the attempt. They just did not want anything other than Candace, other than I heard a lot of people saying they wanted her daughter, which like I really don't think her daughter's going to be going over to Hallmark
No,
with
I
Candace's.
don't think so
Like,
either.
I get where you're going, but
Yeah.
it's just not very logical. So, but and then the other thing is the cinematography of this movie.
Mhm.
And the costuming and the cinematography I also thought was just great in this movie. So really loved it. Really, really loved it. And I'm hoping that we get more.
Well, my number one is one that was way on the bottom of your list. Haunted Harmony's Mystery Murder in G Major. I actually just posted today. That was my top movie of all of Hallmark movies of 2023, minus the Christmas ones. Um, I
Mind-boggling.
I loved this movie. I'm shocked that that was that low for
I'm
you.
seriously, I'm sitting here spellbound for
I
you to
know we
tell
are
me
both in like
why
reverse.
why it's not just your favorite of the mysteries, how it could possibly be your favorite movie of the entire year.
I loved it. I mean, I thought again, maybe it's the settings. Ireland drew me in, but I
I won't deny
enjoyed
that.
I enjoyed the banter. I think she's got some romantic love interest. I think there is some tension between that detective and as well as the teacher. So she's got
The
that going that you
teacher
can
is a
play off of.
psycho stalker.
Okay, well, they can. I mean, I think that's who they were going for as the main love interest. But she had so much chemistry with the detective that I'm like, give me the detective. I don't mind. I feel like they could bring back that same ghost and solve other mysteries. Have you seen the new? Did you ever watch Monk,
I've seen Monks, and then I'm about to watch
the
Monk's
movie?
last movie.
So okay, so Monk's last movie. This is where I just kind of sparked as this idea. Highly recommend. I have already watched it. As I have everyone who's ever had a little baby, you usually have a TV show that you're just watching all the time. And Monk was that movie when my son was born last February. I had never seen Monk, but I just binged it. So then I watched the Monk movie, and for
Isn't there like
me,
180 of them or something?
yeah, I watched them all. So
Wow.
watched them all. I mean, this is anyone who's breastfeeding knows like you're doing that constantly, or they're contact napping on you as they're little. So that was my show for my little guy. And my first one was Diagnosis Murder. So apparently the mysteries just call me when I'm breastfeeding. Not sure what that says about me. But the Monk movie, how they finished, and I don't want to give too much away because it is kind of,
Especially because I haven't seen it.
I know, I'm trying to be like toy around it. How they handled it, that could easily be the ghost of what is going on in this as a series. And so I can see like into the future of like, yes, this could easily be more movies, and how that Monk is finished could be kind of in this movie. So that's all I'll say there. It might have confused people, but if anyone is a Monk fan, watch that and you'll kind of see how they could easily make that ghost, because I think and I don't know the actor's name, he was wonderful. And I think having him in future movies would really benefit the movie as kind of that sidekick
He was good.
um, to Jessamine. Is that how you say it? Did I get it right?
I think so. I thought you, by the way, you were saying add Monk to the Hallmark movie. I'm like, wait, what? Then I figured out who you were talking about.
No,
Yeah.
no. So like the end, how they
Right.
did it. So that would be what I would most be looking forward to in the new year. And I really hope to see more of these. I can't believe that you did not love this as much as I
It's
did. I
like,
just the whole thing worked for me. Like
but
that's
the
where I
actual
can't believe
mystery itself was pretty
that worked
weak.
for me.
Like I forget what it was. She found like the coin that just happened to be in the piano, which no one's noticed for years or whatever, or the ring or something like that, whatever that she found in the piano that she all of a sudden just out of nowhere gets puts two and two together with no reasonable person will put two, whatever. All right. It's your
I
number one.
mean,
You can enjoy it.
it and I think Tamira, she had posted in her stories that she really enjoyed. This was like one of her top films that she enjoyed working on last year. And so that's a great sign that, okay, your leading lady loved it, that hopefully there's more. Because I do think that if you have the investment from the cast and they really enjoyed making it and enjoyed working together, and for the most part, you're the first one I've, really not enjoy this as much as I thought you would
I,
for
I
loving
didn't,
mysteries.
like I said, it was okay. It was right where it belonged. 9 for me, not number one.
So again, I enjoyed it. I hope to see
Not
more.
number one for the entire year. It's Sweeter Than Chocolate was,
That's my number two.
I
But
know, but that was literally a perfect Hallmark movie.
I love my mysteries, so that's my mystery slid above that one. All right, tell me about mystery.
Cases
Well,
of
I already
Mystery
know.
Lane.
I already know what you're
It's
gonna
obviously
pick.
by default, that's the one it has to be. And I think it was so well written. I think the acting was spectacular. We talked to the writers, and it was the way that they had put it together was it was supposed to be a TV show, that a series. And I think they, by doing that, they really figured out really good pacing for it. Because obviously, if you're in a weekly show, you have to get going. And so I thought they developed some really good pacing. Um, the the costuming in it, we were able once again to talk to Nicole McCormick, who did the costuming for it. And so she let us in on it. And you know, just the way that they dressed both of them. Like I didn't quite understand Alden, but that was the whole point, like his crazy
Mhm.
sweaters. And he was a kind of an oddball guy, which Paul Campbell, I mean, not that Campbell is oddball, but he's definitely a little more of a quirky person, and he came across that way. Amy Garcia, she was basically became my Hallmark crush there, because she was adorable in this movie that I went through and I watched all of Lucifer. And then she's in, I think it's a Netflix Christmas movie from a couple years ago, which is just, I have to say, bad. But I was flying to, ironically, to West Palm Beach in Florida, where you just got back from a couple of years ago, and or I think last year, and I watched it then. And the movie was, like I say, not good, but she was once again fantastic in it. She is just adorable. And I thought they did great. Plus, some of the stuff in the Hallmark, like we just didn't see, where the secret gay relationship, and it wasn't like a big deal. It just happened to be. And then it turns out that they're in this open marriage because it's sort of hey, we love you, but we're not this. Like that's cutting edge Hallmark stuff.
Yeah.
And the fact that it wasn't a big deal, it's just it really was part of the plot and it helped it. I loved that. And then, we'll just get into the humor. It was just stinking funny. And like even when he's there at the very end and she's like trying to, kill him, and it's like, oh, how are you gonna do it? And like that whole ending was funny when, when she had him captive. And it was exactly what we wanted when we did Sydney and I did a thing early in the year of the 10 things we want to see in a Hallmark, which I was thinking maybe we should do at some point. But one of the things we wanted was that comedy, and I talked a little bit about how that Dancing Detective had some,
Mhm.
but I wouldn't say that was comedy, whereas this one definitely had like laugh out loud scenes in it. And like I say, every aspect of this movie I thought was perfect. They opened the door, as you said, to make more with the ending of, that little, hey, I need help too. Um, so like I say, it was just really, really, really good. And I will say, not that public opinion matters, but definitely more people, I think, have Cases of Mystery Lane as their top mystery than they do Haunted Harmony.
We'll see. Let us know. Let us
Ooh, maybe
know
we'll do, you
in
know
the
what? We'll do a
Instagram
poll.
comments. Well,
Yes.
yeah, and let us know which one is your favorite because I would be very curious to see. I think there would be some people who also enjoyed the Haunted Harmonies
And,
mysteries.
and once again, I'm sure there's a lot of people who did enjoy it, who enjoyed it like 3, 4, 5, not one.
Well, we'll
I
see.
don't know.
Or maybe there's
Maybe.
a completely different movie that neither one of us picked. Maybe it was one of our bottoms that they
Yeah,
everyone
yeah.
else loved.
Well, I think Dancing Detective
Mm,
may be a
yeah.
little higher just because of Lacey and Will have a very strong following. I would, and I'd also guess that, well, I don't know. Hannah Swenson's become pretty polarizing, I think. There's
Yeah,
a
I
lot of
think the
people
yeah,
who,
after the way they ended that one and
well,
from
the
Murder
murder
She
she
Baked to
baked,
Hannah
right?
Swenson, I think there's been a split.
and you're talking about like the scene and the different thing, like, because they have different producers, like they legally just had to change everything and
Yeah.
they didn't have access to what they did. So there was a big change. And we even saw like in Curious Caterer, which is kind of a subtle change just between, well, I guess it's not really subtle of having a different writer, but to the public, switching just the writing team there, which was, a pretty noticeable thing. And then when you have to switch literally everything over, it does there. And why am I going brain dead on the one sister that Andrea, right?
I would
That
say Andrea.
how do I forget her name?
I don't know.
That everyone misses, like Michelle's, uh, who I like, and I never, I guess, was like in love with Andrea, so I was like, okay, she's good. I have no problem with her, but I was never like, oh, I don't want to watch this series anymore because Andrea's not there. But if you ever look at IMDb or any other comments, people love Andrea for some
Yeah,
reason. So,
it's
all
the name.
right. All right. So I will say, I think our sort of meat of our rankings were pretty similar, a shift here, there, but our ends were almost
Very
exactly
different.
opposite.
Very different.
Um, the I should say that actually, because my top two were pretty high for you, but obviously Mystery Island I appreciated a lot more than you, and the Jane Mysteries and Haunted Harmony you appreciated way more than me. I will say of those, Jane missed, if it came down to like those two and it's like, oh hey, we have budget to make one, even though I ranked Jane lower, I would pick that above Haunted Harmony to say make another one of Jane with what we had talked about. Give Stephen time to shine and give us some more Aunt Sadie.
I want both.
Well, we only have budget for one.
I mean, I'm picking Haunted Harmonies, I guess, because I mean
I know it's your number one. So,
that's my number one. I loved it.
all right. All right. Yeah, would love to hear. Everyone, uh, shoot us some comments. After this airs, we will do a poll and let people let us know what your favorite mystery of 2023 was. As we mentioned, we've got a couple new mysteries coming out for 2024. We have True Justice, who we're talking to the producer as well as the costumer. So those should be some good conversations. Hopefully, we'll get uh, an actor or two as well. But and then we have the Gilded. Was it the Gilded Newport Mystery? What are you thinking? I know you like your Gilded Age, so you
I
excited
am
for
so excited.
it?
When you had said this, I'm like, yes. The Gilded Age is on HBO Max,
Right.
and if anyone hasn't watched it and you enjoy that time period, or Downton Abbey, I would highly recommend checking out that. And so to have a mystery set in that time period, I think is going to complement the the stuff I've already been watching. I guess it's a nice like twist on things. And I don't know. I'm trying to even rack my brain if we've done any mysteries that are that far back in time on Hallmark. I don't think so.
I don't even know if we've ever gone like Aurora Tea Garden going back to the
Yeah.
early 2000s is
Yeah. So this
other
will
than
be
ones that happened, a long time ago,
yeah,
but I don't think they've ever done
try
a
to do this big
period.
of a time piece jump. So I'm excited for it. And I'm excited to see where it goes. And the casting sounds spectacular. So I would say of the ones that I've read, this would be probably top on my list for next year.
So if we did worked on our like 10 things we want to see in a mystery this year, doing like a Gilded Age thing may have made your
Oh,
list
for
for that, and they're
sure.
giving it to you, huh?
Yes. And like a Murder She Wrote reboot would be great too.
So um with a young like 25-year-old type, so totally change it, make it a prequel since
Angela Lansbury. I know
you
you'd have
can't
to have a
have
very strong leading lady to, I mean, you have big shoes to fill with Angela Lansbury, who
okay.
carried that show. So I'd have to think about who I'd want. I should do that. We'll have
So
to do a little
well,
Murder
we
She Wrote
do
one, and I'll
have
think about this.
to tip our hat to an upcoming episode, because one of the things that Andrea talks about all the time is how she does love Murder, She Wrote, and I've never actually seen an entire episode of Murder, She Wrote, at least awake. I may have been sleeping with Hallmark when it comes on in the middle of the night, so I may have subconsciously. But we are going to have an episode where Andrea gets 30 minutes to convince me that Murder, She Wrote.
It's a long time.
I
I
should
don't know if
watch
I
it.
need 30 minutes.
Well, it's like 5 questions or 5 points, because it's going to be not just monologue. We'll debate it. And then we'll talk about the reboot maybe. Another thing we have coming up, because we do have Andrea on the show now, and so Andrea is putting her foot down and stomping all over me. We are going to be reviewing, what show is that called again?
The Way Home.
Right.
I'm very excited for this.
Which I'm
He's
gonna
never
have.
seen. Eric has never watched this.
No. I saw the first 3. And then I was like,
you basically have never watched this.
And then I'm like, I'm out. So
did you did you
I
enjoy the first 3?
I didn't watch the 4th, so what do you think?
Oh man.
I will hop in, and I've heard many people, I know, like what the girls go on Hallmark talk about how it's the greatest thing ever.
It is so good. How
you like it? I will in the next,
give it another go.
I will be binging. When does the new one start?
I think it's the January 21st. Second season starts.
Okay. So we'll
maybe
weeks. Right beforehand, we'll do a little recap of season 1, and then we'll be doing little mini reviews of season 2. I do like Andie MacDowell. I
love Andie MacDowell.
4 Weddings and a Funeral.
Great. I've never seen that movie, but she's great.
You've never seen 4 Weddings and a Funeral?
No.
You're a rom-com fan. Oh, Andrea.
It's before my time.
You can watch a movie maybe that is slightly like, I watched Alfred Hitchcock movies. I was not born in the 40s and 50s.
Yeah, you should know this
like
about
the Gilded Age.
I worked at a movie theater, one theater, one screen, and I was a concession stand worker. And I somehow, people are like, how have you never watched these movies and you worked at a movie theater? And I would read a book. I'd sit in the concession stand and read a book. And occasionally I would go out and watch the movie, because if people came out of the theater, they needed to order their food.
What year is this?
This is ages, what would be 97 through 2003.
Oh, so you worked there for a while.
Since 7th grade. I was there till my senior year of high school.
Isn't it illegal?
Oh, I worked there. They needed people to work, so I worked.
They have no laws in rural Minnesota.
No, they don't. So I worked in a theater.
If you're taller than the counter, then you can work.
And I'm 5'10", so there you go.
Oh man. All right. Well, there we go.
It's been fun. I enjoyed it.
Fun.
Let us know what you think. That's what I'm curious about. See what everyone thinks. Who do you agree with?
Me.
All right. Bye.